Hey, I'm Chris Wing, CEO of Technically and one of the organizers of Philly Tech Week presented by Comcast. Ahead of the 10th annual, we're talking to some of the folks doing interesting stuff during Philly Tech Week. And I'm joined by two friends, Dr. Frank Lee at Drexel University and Tom Sharpe at Gossamer Games, to tell us about something they've been working on and we'll see more of during Philly Tech Week. Hey, Frank. Hey, Tom.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Can we start off with, like, who are you and what discipline do you come from? And then we can talk a little bit about what you're working on. Frank, who the heck are you?
I am a professor at Drexel University for the past 20 years or so in the Department of Digital Media. And in particular, I specialize in games. So my area of work deals with games.
I love that. Tom,
yeah. Hey, my name's Tom Sharpe. I'm the director of Gossamer Games. We're a small independent studio right here in Philadelphia, and we work on a bunch of different projects ranging from doing console games to PC to doing some really cool projects with Dr. Lee.
All right, beautiful. Okay, all right. So you're working on. You've already done something. What are you working on right now together? What is this thing?
So what I'm working on is a project called Civil Dialog, and it was conceived a couple of years ago with the idea I hope to have a friendly, informative, but civil conversation within social media, especially about topics ranging from politics, race relations, among many others. So that was how I envisioned it, and the details of how the project works, Tom could sort of essentially talk more about that.
Yeah, so in Civil Dialog, you have the ability of, we're basically building an application where you can tweet a response to one of our topics, and we're going to be projecting it onto the side of a building, which is a pretty cool thing to see your opinions and your thoughts up on the side of a giant building. And so the way it works is we send out tweets in advance, and it'll have @civil_dialog tagged in there, and you respond, and we're going through and selecting kind of the best responses, and we're going to be featuring them on the side of the building.
Your mic is on.
It sure is. Yeah, that was the classic mute thing. You did a version of this in August 2020. I want to pull up video here that you guys have in addition to the web interface of what it looked like. Let me look at that quick. So maybe hard to see in that version. That essentially was the display of the screen, and on the left were tweets coming in, and you guys were selecting and projecting them, right?
Yes. So what's happening with there is that's been projected onto Nesbitt Hall, which is about 7-story tall building in University City in Philadelphia. And what we're doing there is we posted up a question on @civil_dialog, our Twitter handle for the project, and the responses that were coming in were selected to be projected onto a 7-story building. And the event, that's a live feed from Twitch, because we were also streaming the event live both on Periscope on Twitter as well as Twitch.
Tom, any nerdy tech stack stuff you can give us, and how you guys projecting, or it's always just interesting to see what people are actually using.
Yeah, so we actually went about this kind of a really unconventional way. We're using the Unity game engine to build this application. And yeah, we're streaming in. The hardest part for us was streaming in all the tweets coming in real time, and also just kind of caching them from people who had done it the week leading up to it. And then also we have a system where we're having to go through and make sure that the content is appropriate to display in public. And so having a pretty robust moderation system just to filter out all the bad language and media and stuff like that. And having that be supported across
on the internet, Tom.
No, of course not. No, of course not. But then having a system where we can have multiple moderators connect together and go through all the responses together was a pretty big technical challenge.
I feel like I'd be remiss to not note that, Frank, you and I have both worked together before, but you're not a stranger to putting stuff on buildings. Is that right? You've done this sort of thing before?
Yes. Chris, you and I have a long, illustrious history, especially back in 2013 for Philly Tech Week. I believe that was the third one or so.
Yes.
Correct me. But for that event, we did Pong on side of the 29-story tall Sears Center building in Philadelphia. And following year, 2014, we did Tetris as part of 30th year anniversary of Tetris. So we had a playable version of Tetris up and running on a 29-story tall skyscraper in Philadelphia.
And I have a little video of that. I think it's a test, so it won't be the most dramatic thing in the world, but it'll give you a sense of the scale and the real visual of that. Let's look at that quick.
You should cut like Max.
If I kept that going, I think even the test row people get pretty excited by it. That's not no visual effect. That is quite literally you playing Tetris in that case on the side.
Yes, you are playing Tetris about half a mile away from the skyscraper at the top of the art museum, which was made famous by Rocky. So you're playing across the Schuylkill River on the building. And that was a test run that we did. The actual video from Philly Tech Week from 2014 are fantastic, and you can find it on YouTube from New York Times, from Technical Media, and other places as well.
So, in the final thing to check in on is why? What the hell do you think you want to accomplish with this project? What success, or what do you want to? What are you trying to teach us about putting stuff on a building, and why does that matter? Why is throwing some tweets on a building matter?
It's a great question. So I guess fundamentally what I'm interested is bringing together the real world, buildings, streets, skyscrapers, and merging it or adding digital technology to it to create novel or new type of interaction. Pong and Tetris are great examples of it. And this project with Civil Dialog is another great examples of it as well. And I think something that both Tom and I share, and I will ask him to sort of speak to it, is the use of game engine broadly beyond simple games, making games. Tom, do you want to talk a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, so I think with this project, it's been really interesting because we're using kind of a game engine to do something very unconventional. But I think the most interesting part for us from a design perspective is just kind of trying to hopefully prove that people can actually have productive conversations on Twitter because as we spoke before, there are a lot of kind of like not safe for work or just a lot of like vitriolic or just kind of unpleasant conversations happening online, and getting a chance to work on a project that highlights that we can have meaningful, deep conversations and just speak with each other on the internet is a really cool opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to add a brief comment on top of that, I mean, Twitter has developed a very bad reputation, especially with language, with trolling, and other aspects of it. But we also have to realize at the same time, Twitter has become one of the biggest political platforms, right? So a lot of politics is sort of taking place. So my hope with this project is to try to elevate the level of discussion, or at least remind people on social media, including Twitter, to look to having a civil conversation, a civil dialogue. Oh.
I think the mic is muted.
Chris, your mic is off again.
I don't know what you're talking about. The takeaway here is that on Monday, September 21st, 2020, at the start of Philly Tech Week, questions will be going out from an array of folks active on Twitter using hashtag PTW20, in addition to tagging @civil_dialogue, as you see at the bottom of your screen. You can send in your own questions or even just your view of civility. You can respond and answer and get projected on a building as part of this endeavor and contribute to the civic dialogue. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Frank. We'll see you on the other side of a more civil online discourse, I hope.
That is the dream.
I think it's a noble dream, no doubt. All right, Frank, Tom, we will see you, and thanks so much for joining us.
All right, thanks, Chris.